in the next few minutes. So the most important element, as I said, was a value prop, and it is impossible, as you know, to sell without a clear value proposition to the customer. Customer wants to know what's in it for me, and unless you have defined that clearly, yes, it will be a tough job for you. Often the value prop starts as a very simple realization. Imagine for a moment that you are standing on a Mumbai road on a rainy day. You notice the large number of motors, scooters, bicycles, not bicycles, the motorbikes snaking precariously in and out around the cars in the lanes. As you look more closely, you see that most of those scooters are actually carrying whole families, both parents and several children. That's a very common sight in India. For a foreigner, the first thought might be that that's crazy, or that's the way it is in developing countries. People get by as best as they can. For you and me, it is business as usual, right? When Ratan Tata of Tata Group looked out over this scene, he saw a critical job to be done, providing a safe alternative for its scooter families. He understood that the cheapest car available in India costs easily 5 times what a scooter did, and that many of these families could not afford one. Offering an affordable, safer, all-weather alternative for scooter families was a powerful value proposition, one with the potential to reach tens of millions of people who were not yet part of the car buying market. Tata also recognized that Tata Motors' business model could not be used to develop such a product at the needed price point. So what was really, what are the components of value prop? So a good value prop essentially has these 7 components. A value prop is first of all, it's a differentiating promise which you make to a target audience, and this promise has to be supported by reasons to believe why they should believe you, and it should outweigh all the perceived costs and the risks. So essentially the equation is benefits on the left hand side minus the cost and risk on the right hand side is the value which the customer could get. So essentially to get to this value prop, you have to first define your target market, and that is about segmenting the market. If you can segment the market and fine-tune the group of customers whom you really want to address, then you can customize your offering and really give them a great value. Customers in the market are in they have different needs. All of them are not in the same boat. And you can see that happening right across in different industries. Automobiles, for example. You can also buy a Tata Nano, and at the same time, at the other end of the spectrum, you have Rolls-Royce and the Maybachs and so many big expensive cars. So what it goes on to say is that customers have different needs, and you cannot just have one product fitting the needs of so many customers. Another aspect of this is also that customers have different willingness to pay. So you probably would not want to have one product at one price which will be bought by only a set of customers. Some people will find it too expensive and will be ruled out. Another set of customers will find it too not fitting their needs, though they are willing to pay higher amount. So segmenting your target audience is the most important part of a value prop. And of course, the second important part of value prop is that your promise has to be differentiated. How are you superior to competition? So these two are the most important things, and rest of the things are about providing support to your claim that why the customer should believe you. Having said that, I think I would like to just clarify the concept of value before we go further. So what is value? Basically, benefits minus cost is value, and but value is not as simple as that. I mean, value operates at different levels. I would like to illustrate with an example here. Say, you have heard of Teflon coated non-stick utensils, the pans and the pots. So pan has a Teflon, which means that food won't stick, which means that it can be a fat-free, oil-free cooking, which means health. So Teflon as a feature in your product can give you multiple values at different levels. And what are these levels of values? If you look at it, food won't stick is more of a functional thing. It's at the basic level. Customers look for functional value. Products help customers do functions that were otherwise not possible to do or were performed inefficiently. At the other level, customers are looking for economic value. If we say fat-free cooking, means I use less oil or no oil, so I save money. So economic value is the next level which the customers are always looking for. In certain situations, they expect products to result in cost savings, revenue enhancements, and such other things. Look at health. Health is an emotional thing. So that's the highest level of value which customers are looking for finally, emotional value. So when you are really thinking of value which your product would provide customer, these are the functional, economic, and emotional values. Are the three levels you got to really think about. Give you another example.